Good afternoon, you filthy apes. Welcome to AMC and ADD, where we buy, we hold, and we screw the hedgies. Today, I'd like to take some time to introduce you guys to a candidate that I'm going to be nominating as a board member for AMC. And I'd like to take just a few of your minutes so that you can have a chance to get to meet her. And I refer to her as Mom, but her name is Mistie Shaw. Mom, welcome to the channel, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Case. Um, if I were sitting where you guys are, I'd be wondering, Casey's a nice guy, but what kind of qualifications does his mom have? So I want to just start by giving you some of those qualifications, or at least what I think would qualify me. Right now, I'm sitting on an HOA board. It's that doesn't sound like a big deal, I know, but it's got 220 homes, not real big, but we're conservatively worth probably $175 million in total. And that's a pretty good number. Um, but the reason it's kind of a big deal is because this year's been a very interesting year. We've had to restructure our insurance because it started out about $90,000 when it was just getting built. And by the time they ended it, the cost of our insurance was close to 900,000 because of the wildfire risk. So, in order to restructure it, we had to plan what we were going to do. And it's very unusual. Most condominium associations couldn't do this. We had to figure out how to convince people that this was the way to go. We had to talk to the legal guys and then rewrite what they wrote because it was all legalese. We had to shepherd through everybody through the vote and make sure that they could understand what was happening. And now we're working on getting everybody to buy this new insurance policy. But it's been a very, very big deal. Prior to that, I was living in China for 12 years. When I got there, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with my free time. But then I realized that there was a lot of needy people around me. I mean, really needy. Some of the students they're farm kids and they only had a few pairs of clothes. I mean, maybe two or three shirts and a couple of pairs of pants. A lot of them were very thin. And so I came back to the States on one of my little breaks and talked to my sister, my cousin, and a friend, and we started a nonprofit called China Lifeline. China Lifeline had a lot of big goals, and somehow we managed to get them all done the first year. We we rented a place for a student center. We had a drama camp for a week that cost the kids almost nothing. And anybody that applied got a 50% off scholarship. We um, we gave away clothes. We got people to give us donations, kind of like a thrift store, but you didn't have to pay money. It was just an amazing time in my life, and that lasted for about 11 years till I came back and COVID hit, and I didn't get to go back for. I haven't gone back since then. Um, I was a pastor, and in that position, I was asked to run a homeless shelter for families. But it wasn't just run it, they didn't have a building that was set up. So I had to get donations, and then I had to get people to help me build it. I mean, it was an old warehouse, a really yucky old warehouse. And we built these little cubicles for people. And it was such a great place that our kids that were going to school for the first time in years because they had a place to live would invite their friends home to spend the night with them at the homeless shelter, and people would let them. It was an incredible deal. Um, One of the other jobs that I had was with signal processing systems. They were hoping to get sold to some deep pocket, I guess. And they brought me in as a marketing consultant, selling engineering prototypes. I knew what a prototype was, but I didn't really know much about engineering. But I catch on pretty quick, and so that was a really great thing. But what specifically could I do? And these are all the things I've been thinking about. What could I really do to help AMC on the board and the people that make up the retail side of the stocks? And I know Casey talks to all the apes, and I'm involved. I own quite a bit of stock because I believe in this. So I think being able to communicate is a key thing that I can do. I am a communicator. When I was about 50 something, I went back to school and got 2 master's degrees back to back. Um, and I had to write some pretty hefty theses for that. And I loved it. I loved doing it. I loved learning. I loved finding things out. But I learned how to write even better. I was a pretty good writer before that. I'd been an online editor for Suite 101. I had about 150 articles online. I was a photojournalist for a small newspaper. I had a regular column every week and a lot of front page stuff. And that's where I learned to do some of my writing. But I also did a lot of writing in the military. I was in the Office of Public Affairs working for the Secretary of the Air Force the last few years that I was in the service. And for that job, I had to write reports, I had to write letters, thank you letters, and all those kinds of things. And then when Desert Shield, Desert Storm hit, they didn't have somebody that they could send to work in the National Military Command Center, which was kind of where everything that was happening from the war, it all came together, and then we would do all the reports and give them to General Powell. The colonel would give it to him. And so I was there working pretty hard, 12 on, 12 off, 3 days, 2 days, 2 days, 2 days. It was crazy, but I loved it. It was exhilarating to be there and watch history happening. Yeah, I can't talk, but I can write. Don't worry. Um, a year later, I got this really weird call, and it was the office of the vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and they were asking me if I could write speeches. And I said, sure.
Why not?
And they said, are you up to snuff on your let's see, current events? And oh yeah, sure. I've got 3 little kids at home. Of course I am. And they had me come in for 5 weeks and write speeches for the vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That was a real honor. I was a fairly young captain, and I was in the reserves at the time, and that was an amazing opportunity. And I really, really enjoyed it. I guess I did a pretty good job for them. A different part of my life, I was an intake specialist where I interviewed all the people that needed to come into a psychiatric clinic or be seen, because that was my background. And I had to be able to get information out of people who weren't really excited about talking about the yucky stuff in their life with a stranger. And so I'm yeah. So I have some experience in communications. In fact, the year Casey was born, I was attached to a group of research scientists who were also reservists, but they were from all kinds of different disciplines. And they had to write reports that were classified, but they were critical to the US economy for future things. And my job with them was to translate their tech speak, I guess, into a language or reports that would be easily understood by the decision makers. And it was not a difficult job because I kind of caught on quick, and it was fun, and I liked it. Anything that's fun or a challenge kind of gets me. So I've told you all these things that I've done, but who am I? I think the most important thing in my life is God. I'm a Christ follower. I'm the mom of 3 amazing young people. Well, sort of young.
Eh,
Casey's growing up. I'm Grammy to 9 kids. The youngest is 2 months. The oldest is almost 20. Is that right, Casey? You
yes, almost 20.
almost 20. I'm a writer. I'm a professor at a university, or at least I was for a while. When I enlisted in the Air Force, um, I started off as an airman basic, and a few years later, right after Casey was born, I got a direct commission and made it to major. And most of that time was in the reserves. Um, and that's kind of who I am. One of the last things I want to say real quick, and I think then I'll let Casey throw hard questions at me. Um, but 20 years ago, AMC started something called AMC Cares. And I've searched the internet and I can see that they started off giving scholarships to their employees or their employees' kids. I'm not sure which. They do handouts to local organizations. You can get like 10 freebie movie things to give to people for contests or something. They do charitable grants for people in the arts or organizations. There's not a whole lot online, and I think if AMC was going to say, how can she help us? I mean, sure, she could work with the retail side of things, but I think uh, I would be very interested in helping make their program bigger and better. And one of the ways I would do that is the money that they would pay, I would donate it to the, well, partly to AMC Cares and then partly to some other charitable organizations, not apes. but
Well,
but maybe to some ape projects. I don't know, but I would not want to be paid. Most of my life, I've been doing volunteer work, and I like doing that.
that's excellent. Thank you for taking that time to let us know about your past and why you feel like you would be helpful. Now on to the tough questions. I'm gonna ask just a couple series of really tough questions to my mom here, just so you guys can know that I'm not being easy on her. Right? Yes, she is my mom, but I'm hard on her just like she's been hard on me in my life to make sure that I'm ready to do the things that I'm going to do in life and set me prepared to be prepared for what I have to experience. So let me ask you little tough questions from the retail side. With a diversified community of apes, which stands for all people equal, how would you go about discerning between what is best for both AMC and shareholders, and what would you see as more important, AMC or the shareholders?
I don't think that I would be able to discern that on my own. And I can always like log on to social media and read and see what people are saying. But I would expect, or at least really, really strongly encourage people who have stocks to find some peer leaders and have them talk about things and then funnel information to me in writing. I think it would be very important that we not discuss things person to person, because then you never know what's going on. The board I'm in right now, we have one. Everybody uses one particular just for that thing um, email address, and everything that we talk about the company is on that email, and that way there's no funny stuff. Nobody has to worry about what are they saying or who are they talking about or did they tell secrets. I mean, yes, that could happen, but I I would prefer setting it up so that it's not easily misunderstood. And I don't know all this stuff, but I think I've been preparing for the last day and a half. I'm learning pretty fast. I want to be um, educated so people can talk to me.
So AMC or shareholders? Which one are you siding with?
Oh, I belong to shareholders.
Okay.
I mean, apes. Isn't that what we're calling everybody?
Yeah.
Apes?
Yes.
Okay,
So, do you believe that MOAS can happen?
absolutely. Unless the government stops it.
Um,
I hope they're not that stupid.
never put it past them. What are your thoughts on share dilution?
That's not a fair question. I mean, there's half of the people that hate it and half the people that love it. Um, I personally, I I think share dilution sucks, but I am open to the other side of the story that people think it's a good thing. I just don't know the reasons, all the reasons anyway. Um, so I would be asking a lot of questions if that was something that was really on the front burner.
Do you
I need to
think
be educated. You guys, I would be a conduit, a messenger from the people who own stocks to the people who are making the decisions.
Hmm.
I don't know all this stuff, but I'm a sponge. I learn pretty fast. And I get excited, and I've spent a lot of time in sales, and I get it. I can help that way.
Hmm. Do you think AMC should consider a merger or acquisition in the future? And how do you think the apes feel about this subject?
They feel about it as many different ways as there are apes. But I think at first everybody was pretty excited and not real thrilled with the gold mine. HYMC has maybe, I mean, it's kind of looking like a good thing that has happened. Um, I don't know all the facts behind the decision, and I can't really criticize. I mean, until things go wrong, we shouldn't be criticizing. We should wait and see what happens, in my opinion. But when we're talking about mergers or acquisitions, I think each one has to be on its own merits. But generally speaking, I think we need to pay off a few more bills before we start buying too much stuff.
What about somebody else acquiring AMC?
um, okay, it depends. It really depends on the circumstances and the person and what they're going to do and how it's going to affect all the other people.
The shareholders, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
the shareholders, us.
yeah. How do you envision
I
the
mean,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I wouldn't be an us if I took this job because I'd have to give my stocks to somebody else to manage.
Yeah,
But I'd still feel like an us.
yeah. How do you envision the community of apes being able to communicate with you and delivering that feedback to the board?
Um, Email or reports or whatever they wanted to do. I can't. I think we can talk about social things and stuff, but I think it would have to be in public settings. And I would have to be extremely careful. I've had jobs and security clearances in the Air Force. I know how to keep secrets. And I know the easiest way is not to get in a situation where people are asking you the things you're not supposed to talk about. So I think having information as far as what I need to know that I can relay to the people on the board, if it were me, would have to be not face to face in real life, unless it's I mean, if we had a group setting and lots of people were there and it was being recorded and we could prove we didn't talk about anything wrong, that'd be fine. But I'm just saying, I'm really cautious. I mean, we're talking this is high stakes stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to be frivolous. I like to have fun, but I'm not going to mess something up.
Okay. If you were to witness actions of the board not acting in the best interest of the shareholders, what would you do?
Ask questions. I would ask questions first because a lot of times things that look one way are not read quite the way they are really happening. So until I have all the facts, I'm not going to decide anything. But then if I get facts that really are red flags, I have no fear in confronting people about stuff. I've been known to walk where angels fear to tread.
Well, that's all the really tough questions that I have for you. I'm going to try and set up a couple different interviews for you to have with a couple other YouTubers within the community because this is not just about me submitting you as a member of the board. This is about the whole community getting a chance to know you. And so, do you have any last words that you'd want to share with everybody before I close this down? But otherwise, I'm going to submit you to a bunch of different YouTubers, and I'm going to get you out there and answering questions.
Yeah, I have one question is no matter who you try to get on the board, you're going to have to come up with something they can communicate. And that means that the groups of you that are opposed are going to have to find some common ground. And I want to encourage you to start doing it sooner than later, because when the time comes that you need to have an ability to work together, it's too late. You need to have it already.
Hmm.
Start working on it now. Don't put it off because this is a magnificent time to build something, not tear each other up and destroy stuff. That's all I would say.
Chills. I got chills. I agree. I totally agree. We need to come together. Our community is our only thing that we have that helps us to be who we are. And I build that community, and we all build that community. And so I agree. Well said. Thanks, you mom,
Thanks.
for the time that you came on here and spent with me. I know 20 minutes is hardly enough time to spend with me.
Oh, we took 20 minutes. Oh,
That's
goodness. I'm sorry.
it's not a problem. It's good. I enjoyed the 20 minutes. But thank you again for coming on, and I look forward to submitting you to the board of directors as a candidate. Thank you, mom.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.